Hello friends, who we have with us today is a strong women entrepreneur of Canada, the founder of a venture capital firm, Doyenne Capital, the president of a growth hack consulting firm, SG Communications. She has also been a host for the Weather Network, ATN, BBC World Band Media in Toronto, and Sahara One Television in New York City. If you're still not impressed, let me tell you, she is also the author of Kiss for Social Media and has now launched her new book, 50 Ways to Attract Clients. She's someone who's worked with major brands and has been responsible for making their numbers and goals. She has also played an instrumental role in empowering and enabling female entrepreneurs achieve their full potential. Let's welcome the very lovely Sonya Gill. Sonya, welcome to Bay Street Diary.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Sonya, to start with, everyone is keen to know, how does Sonya Gill manage to do multitasking with so much ease and perfection? Tell us about your journey to start with.
So I don't think it's ease and perfection. It's a lot of help. Multitasking for me is you have to write down a to-do list. And then for me, it's always either the to-do list is on my phone or it's on my notepad. I'm a true believer on pen to paper. Anytime you put pen to paper, it automatically registers in your head. You know exactly what needs to get finished. So I live by that. But my journey thus far, I mean, I work with such incredible people, and I have incredible people that surround me. Without my team, without the designers that I work with, or the developers that I work with, I couldn't have done half the things that I've done, right? So I would definitely say that you're as strong as the people that you surround yourself with.
Of course. So you have been a host for the Weather Network, ATN, BBC, and Sahara One. When did you decide to become an entrepreneur, and why?
As there was no more opportunities left for me. So what happened was I moved to New York for a year.
Okay.
Because I was adamant on becoming, the next Brown Oprah. And so
Okay.
I thought, if I'm really going to go for this, I go big or go home. So I thought, where can I really achieve this dream? Like, I've done so much here in Toronto. What can I do next? And so I thought, let's move to New York.
Okay.
So I moved to New York, and I worked for Sahara One out there, and I worked for TV Asia. And it was when I was with TV Asia that they offered me my own TV show.
Okay.
So I thought, oh my gosh, the dream is coming true. And I had my own studio out of the old MSNBC studios, and everything was great. And then, life happens, and a friend of ours was in the hospital, so I had to go back home to Vancouver, BC. Mm-hmm. And while I was there, he passed away. So I waited for his funeral and all that, and then I was making my way back, and I got stopped at the border. And they detained me for probably 10 hours, and they went through everything. They went through my journal, they went through my bag, they went through everything. And I was never working illegally, ever. But they were just like, we have reason to believe that, you are working illegally, whatever it might have been. And so they barred me for 5 years.
Oh my God.
And actually, I'm so comfortable sharing this story now because there are so many people that have gone through this. And sometimes I don't think it's fair because, in my case, when you're not working illegally and you're not overstaying your stay, you're coming back after every 3 months, it's a little unfair. However, if that never happened, I would have never have embarked on that entrepreneurial journey.
Sure.
So I came back and I tried to apply for jobs at, so many different television and radio stations, and I couldn't find a job. But I had this blog that was doing incredibly well, and it was, getting a lot of traffic. And so I had to revisit what I was really good at, and that's communications. So in 2012 is when I decided to launch that blog into a digital marketing agency.
Okay, I must say you're a strong woman.
I was left with no other choice.
So as a venture capitalist, what does Sonya Gill look in any company prior to placing her bets on it?
So we started Doyenne back in October. Okay. There is a fantastic team, board members right now. And right now where Doyenne is we're kind of, we're feeling the industry right now. As much as we like to think there is a ton of money available in Canada, for female entrepreneurs, there's a little bit of a struggle that's still there. Right. So where we are in the process is we're trying to figure out Where do we pivot? Do we focus on a certain niche? Do we focus on a certain type of industry?
Right.
What do we want to do with Doyenne exactly? However, when we were looking at companies, and sometimes we still look at companies, we look to see, how passionate is the entrepreneur? Do they have perseverance? Do they walk the walk? You can put a fantastic pitch together. You can perfect it until you're blue in the face. But after that pitch is done, I want to see you. Like, are you able to persist in the face of, I don't know, maybe there's like a drawback in your life, maybe there's a family issue, maybe maybe there's a death. Like, how do you come back from that and get right back into your business, into your company, right? Because when you're taking other people's money, I mean, sometimes, like, even me, I can't sleep at night because I have someone else's money on, and they're betting on me, right? So I think that those are the main qualities you look for in an entrepreneur is, like, is this person able to persist? What kind of perseverance do they have in them?
Exactly, makes sense.
Yeah.
So Sonya, let's talk about your books. When and why did you think of sharing your knowledge about social media and business building with everyone?
So in the beginning, I used the book kind of as a business card. There's a lot of people that, talk the talk, but can you walk the walk, right? So, put your money where your mouth is. If you're going to tell me that you're going to sell me on digital marketing, then I also want to know that you know what you're talking about. Because right now in this industry, and as a growth hacker, there's a lot of people that say that they can do all these fantastic things, and then they land the contract, and then they outsource it to either wherever. They outsource it to India, or they outsource it to Germany or Russia or whatever it might be. But you've got to walk the walk. So that's the reason I wrote the books, is because I want, my clients and I want my followers, I want everyone to know that, I am really good at what I do, and I know what I'm doing, and here are my books, and you can read them. And I've gotten fantastic feedback on both of the books, and people have learned quite a bit from them. So that was the whole reason that I wrote them, was just really for, backing up my reputation.
Right. Perfect. Sonya, we see that Canada overall is turning into a startup country with some very young yet very successful entrepreneurs. I remember back then our mentors, teachers, and even parents, they used to have a common piece of advice: work under someone, gain some experience, and then enter into the world of entrepreneurship. But this sounds a little old school today. What is your take on this?
I still believe it. I still believe it. I think if you ride on the shoulders of giants, you're going to get to where you want to be faster. If you keep guessing along the way, you're never going to get to where you need to be as quick as you want to go. I mean, every single person that I've worked with, they've all started off working under someone. I mean, a lot of them, and I really look for those people that did work for free, that were like, give me your experience. I will work for free. I will bring your coffee every day. I will, those are the people that I know will go far, because they are in it for their career, for themselves. They love themselves that much that they want to learn, right? And they want to go places. Whereas, like, if you're just kind of, making stuff up as you go, how do you know, what that path really looks like?
Exactly.
And there's many studies on it. And there's so many books that will tell you that the quickest way to go from A to Z, even though success looks like this, is to ride on the shoulders of giants.
Exactly.
Get a mentor, work under someone, see what real life experience looks like.
Exactly. That's very important. SG Communications is a growth hack consulting firm. What does growth hackers do, and why it is so important for any startup today to hire growth hackers?
So growth hacker is basically they take an idea and they make it big through word of mouth, through sharing, not your traditional ways of guerrilla marketing or PR, whatever it might be, but they authentically try to grow, say, an app through sharing, through social sharing. So let's take Dropbox, for example. When Dropbox first started, they got people to share the link of Dropbox with their friends to get more storage. And then that's how more and more people started to understand Dropbox, because they kept getting this link, right? That's growth hacking. That's a perfect example of growth hacking. So every startup doesn't need a huge marketing budget. Some startups they go out and they raise all this money, and I look at it sometimes, I'm like, you don't need all this money. If you actually understood growth hacking and sharing and social sneezing and used your community of, the people that you have in your circle, you can grow any business.
Sure.
Right? You don't need hundreds and thousands of dollars.
Of course. You have made a mark in the industry with your hard work and that never die attitude. Today, everyone looks at you as a successful women entrepreneur, but it's only Sonya Gill who knows what you have gone through and the sacrifices you have done to achieve this top spot. Tell us about your worst failures and your stand taken in these situations.
So I don't see failures as failures.
Okay. They're your learnings.
I see them as learnings.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I saw them as failures, 100%. But I think also when we're younger, we're thinking about so many things. We're thinking about, oh my God, what is this person going to say about us? What are our parents going to say? And we're scared of so many different things. Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, I used to be like, oh my God, here we go again. I failed. Like, what is my mom going to say? What are my friends going to say? But it was after I was able to look back at everything in retrospect and think, that all happened for a reason. Yeah, if I wasn't barred from the States, I would have never started my company. If I didn't let go of certain people on my team, it wouldn't have grown to the capacity that it grew to.
Exactly.
So any failure or any setback, I always look at it as in, all right, I'm going this way, and the universe is like, you need to go this way. I'm steering you this way, but you're not listening to me. So let me just throw a brick at you. This is a setback for you. And the reason why is because you're supposed to go this way.
Okay.
So really, tuning in into your intuition, your gut, and understanding why is this happening? Because everything starts with us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Sonya, do you also believe in Canadian startup story? Why do you think the major investor groups from all across the globe are creating their presence in Canadian geography today? As a Canadian venture capitalist, do you also see a potential for these overseas investors here?
I think the potential of having overseas investors in Canada is needed because Canadian investors in themselves are so risk averse.
Right.
They're not as willing to take a chance on these companies that do make it big and then eventually go to the US.
Right.
This is just from what I'm seeing. I think, having outside investors in Canada, it kind of shakes things up where people outside who come here are willing to take those risks.
Right.
You see it over and over again, big companies, big names leaving Canada to go to the US, to go to Silicon Valley or New York or LA, because they think that's where the money is, that's where they're going to make it big, right?
Right.
I would really push people towards, taking more chances on companies and startups here in Canada and keeping them here in Canada. Why do we keep losing these companies, to the States?
Of course, makes sense.
So it really, open people's eyes to that. And you don't have to be in a VC. You don't have to be a huge investor with tons of money. You can be an angel investor with $50,000 or whatever it might be. But, help the startups and help them grow here.
Sure. So most business owners always struggle to judge when growth capital should be infused. When, as per your opinion, is the right time for any business to reach the market for fundraising?
I think sometimes people that grow their startups, they want that money too soon. They haven't tested the market. They haven't gotten user feedback. They haven't really tried to dabble hard enough. They haven't. I like to use the term suffer.
Okay.
Like you haven't suffered enough, right?
Okay.
I think you should start looking for outside money because, again, as I said, that is other people's money, right?
Right.
I think you should start looking for outside money when you've proven your concept.
Okay.
Your users are happy with whatever product, whatever it is. You can prove a revenue, and then you need resources. So like whether it's development or you need a team or you need a designer or you need shipping or whatever it might be, then go out and raise that money.
So you mean after the ideation stage?
After the ideation stage, because it's too often that people they're like, I have this idea. Let's go raise all this money. And then they go raise all this money. But the thing is that perseverance, was that ever there in the beginning? I want to know how hard you want to persevere,
exactly.
right? And I think that's, why I've also had a lot of success with raising funding with, our app that we're about to launch. Because people have been able to see that I've persisted, I've persevered. Even with my last company that I sold, I persisted, I persevered, right? So when you have a track record under your belt, that's also, it proves to people that you're in it to win it.
Sure. So Sonya, you are a seasoned entrepreneur with great vision and knowledge about different businesses. What is your advice to the young upcoming entrepreneurs of Canada towards shaping their future? Listen.
I know that we live in this bubble where entrepreneurship seems very easy. It kind of seems like this fad. Yeah. Entrepreneurship is not a fad. It's, if you're in it, you're in it. And there are more dark days than there are really great days. Yeah. But, taking the time, having the patience to, learn about your surroundings, your communication, the way you're communicating with people, the way, you're working with people. I think nowadays a lot of people are very impatient to work with people. When they start working with people, that patience is not there. Mm-hmm. They're not willing to go above and beyond. Right. This is my personal opinion, is just what I've been noticing. But so my feedback and my advice would be, show that you're hungry, that you really want it. Right. Show your hard work. Ride on the shoulders of giants. Show me that you're reading, you're listening to podcasts. Show me who you're hanging out with, who your mentors are, and that you'll go very, very far with that.
Perfect. So Sonya, thank you for sharing your vision and knowledge with our viewers. These are words of wisdom and truly valuable for people looking to enter into the field of entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're most welcome. Folks, that was Sonya Gill enlightening us on the insights of entrepreneurship. Don't waste time. Do like and subscribe our YouTube channel and follow our podcast for best Canadian entrepreneurial stories. Till next week, stay fit and keep spreading love.